This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Postgame reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks with a big win tonight, but I don't even think that's the real story. Josh Hart is definitely the story of the night. The Knicks get the win over the Utah Jazz, 126-120. But Josh Hart, what did he get tonight? Right from the jump, 25 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. So there's a lot to talk about in that regard. Got my man Tony Crow in the building. We got Josh. We got Nate the Great here. And we're going to get with it. Tony, what's poppin' with you, my brother? How you feeling?
Peace, Sim, Josh, Nate. Shout out to the chat. Ill Black is time. Feeling good. A little tired.
Okay.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I'm a little tired myself. You know what I mean? Always got a lot going on, so I feel you on that. Josh, not Josh Hart, the other Josh, this Josh. Josh, what's going on, man?
The other Josh.
Josh No Heart.
Yeah.
Very funny, fellas. Very funny. Good evening. Great win for us. I know the story there's going to be Josh Hart. We're going to talk about him a lot. Like Tony and Sim, I'm tired too. Been a long day for me too. But I'm just very excited that we got this win. And hopefully this trade is really going to, solidify what we have going on, going towards the playoffs. I know with 3 games to the All-Star break, so got to get through that first. But I think this is a tremendous pickup for us for this season. Let's see how it continues to go.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more than just this season. But Nate.
What's going on, y'all? Ugly grind out game, but we got the win. Josh Hart, I told y'all everything I said about him was true. He's going to get a lot of minutes. He's going to play at the end. He's a plug and play player. He played well. I love the synergy between him and Brunson. So yeah, let's start it.
Yeah, let's get it, man. 11 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals tonight for Josh Hart. And Tom Thibodeau, he was one of the first guys to come off the bench. And I tell you what, in the first half, he probably wouldn't have come out if he didn't get his 3rd foul. Or if he did come out, it would have been a little bit later. Instead of him playing 25 minutes, he might have played 27 minutes or something tonight. He got that 3rd foul. Tom Thibodeau had to bring Quentin Grimes into the game. But it's very, very noteworthy that in his first game, he played down the stretch. Right? It was Brunson, RJ, Randall. Who else was out there? Brunson, RJ, Randall, Josh Hart, and Isaiah Hartenstein. Right? So, that's very, very telling. Tony, what's your thought process on that, man?
No, number one, I'm not surprised. It's really about the consistency he brings. You know what I mean? Like, you know what you're gonna get from him in and out. Obviously, nobody in the world is perfect, but you don't have to expect mistakes from him. You know what I mean? So not saying he won't make mistakes, but it's not something that you gotta equate into the game before the game is even played. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel you.
All right, no, I gotta live with 2 or 3 of these in the game and such. So, it's just a solid pickup. So I'm not surprised. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I think you said 27 minutes.
He played 25 minutes tonight. I'm
25
saying
minutes?
If he didn't go out in the first half, he picked up his 3rd foul. Quentin Grimes came in for him. I feel like he would have probably played at least
he's gonna
2
have
to 3
plenty
more minutes.
He's gonna have plenty of 30-minute games.
Yeah, right, no doubt about that. Deuce, I mean, Tibbs don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, that's it. Deuce out, gone. You know what I mean? So obviously,
Deuces.
Josh, he's sticking with the 9-man rotation. That was the question. You know, is he going to stick with the 9-man rotation? He's going to go with a 10-man rotation. Deuce isolated, exiled from the lineup, right on top.
Come on, I'm sure Deuce feels bad about that already.
You making it so brutal.
I mean,
it is what it is. It is.
We knew it was going to happen. We knew it was going to happen.
It's brutal, though. It is brutal. I mean,
you know why it's not?
It didn't touch the floor. He's been playing, you know.
All right, I'm
good
not
basketball too.
I'm not going to say
young guy,
it's not
Sam.
brutal,
He's a young guy.
but this is what I will say. Tibbs is consistent, so no matter who it happens to, when it happens, you can't take it personal.
Right. No doubt about it.
You know what I mean? So at this point, like Josh said, it is what it is, and that's what it is. Whatever it happens to whomever it happens to,
yeah.
And obviously, fans are going to be upset. Players are not going to be happy, but Tibbs is consistent in what he does and how he does it.
Yeah. I mean, it's, I'm not mad at him. I'm just saying, right off the bat, pew, deuce, done.
We shouldn't be surprised.
Josh, just your thought process, man. We talked about that 9-man, 10-man rotation thing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I was fine with it either way. 9-man, 10-man rotation, as long as Tibbs is consistent. He's shown that's what what it is. But we have to see a little bit more of this. But I think that's pretty much how it's going to stay. Deuce McBride, even though he's been playing well, I still think there's an opportunity, and there will be opportunities for him to see some minutes on the floor down the stretch of the season. Right, won't be anything close to what he was getting before, and that wasn't a lot. But I still think Deuce can be able to help us at times. Full court defense, picking up full court when we need a body out there.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned the foul trouble from Josh Hart earlier. Depending on how that goes, I don't expect that to be the norm throughout. But foul trouble happens, injuries happen, stuff like that. So Deuce will be ready. So I think that's a good problem for the Knicks to have. But hey, listen, Josh Hart, tremendous pickup. Can't be understated. I don't think anybody was questioning who Josh Hart was as a player. The question was giving up the first round pick for him. With him being an expiring contract or what have you. If the Knicks sign him, great, but I think that was the question that everyone had, not about Josh Hart as a player.
Right.
And he showed that today.
Right. I mean, you heard what he said in his interview. He wants to, he hopes that he found a home. You know what I mean? He hopes he found a home. And, when a guy comes in.
Me too, Sam. Me too. I hope he found a home too.
Yeah, when a guy comes in straight off the plane, he gets 25 minutes. You got your buddy Jalen Brunson there. You already got connections with Leon Rose. Tom Thibodeau is a fan of yours. It's pretty. You can pretty much be like, yeah, I think maybe I found a home. Obviously, we'll see because anything can happen in the league, as we've seen over the past couple of days.
Do you think? Well, listen, Josh Hart played well. I'm not going to take anything away from him, please. So everyone in the chat, don't kill me for even asking this question. But do you think that because the Knicks know they need to sign him next season, that the front office was being a part of it? I know Tibbs likes the guy, he played well, all of that, but do you think the front office had anything to do with do we need to sign this guy?
I don't.
Make sure you play him.
I don't. I think it's
because it was a different situation with Cam Reddish. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We were talking about the Cam Reddish comparison.
Yeah, we'll get to that too.
I think everybody is aware of the situation, or where Cam coming in. Tibbs knew Cam's situation. Tibbs knows Hart's situation. So it's if Tibbs didn't want to play him, he wasn't gonna play him. I think we know that by now.
Right.
There is no you gotta play this guy.
Yeah, I think Tibbs wanted
they
to
on the
play
same
him.
page.
Yeah, I think Tibbs was like, I think Tibbs probably, we were talking before about, the way things went down with Cam Reddish and, whoever is the next guy to come in, will Leon Rose consult Tibbs and make sure everything is cool? I think he probably said, give me a list of guys that you would like, and we'll see if they're available. And Josh Hart was probably on that list. You know what I mean? And from
or vice versa, they gave him the list, and then you said scratch off the guys
that you don't like.
Either way, they learn from the mistake,
Either way,
or they
right,
learn from
right.
the Cam Reddish situation. Either way,
Right.
either way.
Yeah. So, Nate, your
Yeah,
thoughts, man?
I think
You feel bad for Deuce?
I do. I like Deuce a lot, but Deuce is a young guy. He'll be fine. And honestly, I think Grimes and Deuce are professionals. And, if Josh is taking their minutes right now, hey, that just means they got to work harder. They're young guys, keep their head down. They'll be fine. They're in the future. So I'm not worried. Listen, I think we got to stop comparing the whole Cam and the situation with Hart, because the truth is, it's two differences, huge differences. Cam was unproven. We knew nothing about what Cam was going to bring to the table. We knew everything that Hart was going to bring, because Hart has the career. He's been with other teams. He's 27 years old. He's not a young guy. I mean, he's in his prime. But I mean, it was going to be a more seamless effort or seamless fit with Hart than it was with Cam. Cam was kind of a project. We were just going to see what we had in him, and if we could get him playing time, we're going to get him playing time. I honestly think that Tibbs just didn't want to play him because this defense was bad, and he had no obligation really to play him. With Hart, he already knows what Hart can bring to the table, and he's going to make this team better. You saw it tonight. Defensive side, he played good defense. He ran the court well on the fast breaks. He got rebounds, and he played in clutch minutes at the end. So we're going to see a lot of this going forward. And like I said, I think it's going to be at the expense of Grimes and Deuce. Well, Deuce for sure, but Grimes, I think Grimes' minutes will go down a little bit too, because I think Hart's going to play a lot more. But we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think Cam played bad defense. I think he was a good defender. I think it's part of it is the other stuff. Tom Thibodeau wanted some of those little things that you see Josh Hart did out there today. You know what I mean? The rebounding. I mean, he filled up the stat sheet tonight. 11 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals. I think, he was looking for a guy that can do some of those things, and then just the hustle. You know what I mean? Sure. And Cam, just doesn't have that kind of hustle. And I think that's what Tom Thibodeau was looking for, the kind of guy that he was looking for. And, the fact that Josh Hart came in, played 25 minutes, I think it tells you all you need to know about what Tom Thibodeau thinks about Evan Fournier as far as being able to play this role, what he thought about Cam Reddish as far as being able to play this role, and what he wanted and expected from those guys, and the reason why they're not out there on the floor. I think it tells you everything, you know what I mean, about it. And so I guess there shouldn't be any more, of course we've seen people, because Cam Reddish last night for Portland, had 11 points, and, he started for Portland or whatever. Maybe he's a better fit for them, and maybe he's what they needed or felt like they needed. Josh Hart is what the Knicks feel like they need. You know what I mean? So hopefully it's going to be a good marriage. You know what I mean?
Sam, to address Nate real quick, I don't think the differences are clear. We know the difference between Josh Hart and Cam Reddish. I don't think anyone's arguing that part. My concern personally was the fact that the Knicks gave up a first-round pick for both of these guys. And this first-round pick, I think, is a little bit more valuable that they gave up for Josh Hart. That's where the question lies. It doesn't lie with the individual players themselves, right? Of course, Cam Reddish could have helped us at certain moments, right? Josh Hart is helping us right now. The question was, the Knicks gave up a first-round pick for this guy, and is that worth it, right? Can we be able to sign him to an extension? And with that being said, Knicks sign him to an extension. They're going to be very close to the luxury tax next season. I guess we'll talk about that later. But those were the questions that I had surrounding Josh Hart, about nothing else in regards to Cam or anything like that. I'm not a part of the Cam hive and all of that stuff, but I am concerned about the other stuff.
Yeah,
from a team perspective.
We'll see how that works out. Another thing that this kind of, if you want to say solves, or at least helps, is the minutes distribution, right? Mm-hmm. A few weeks ago, people were crying and screaming and hollering about the minutes distribution, guys getting 40-plus minutes a game. Mm-hmm. But when you look at it tonight, 2 players are close to 40 minutes per game. Julius Randle, Jalen Brunson, right? Julius Randle is an all-star. Jalen Brunson could be an all-star. So you probably expect that those guys are going to play heavy minutes. But RJ Barrett, 33 minutes. Jericho Sims, 23 minutes. Quentin Grimes, 22 minutes. Josh Hart, 25. Emmanuel Quickly, 23. Isaiah Hartenstein, 24. Obi Toppin got 9 minutes tonight. But when you talk about R.J. Barrett and Quentin Grimes and those guys, now that you have Josh Hart here, he's going to play because Deuce was getting like 12 minutes or something like that. Josh Hart, if he's going to get 25 to 30 minutes per game, he's going to take some minutes from Grimes, take some minutes from R.J. Barrett, right? And so that's going to be spread out a little more. So maybe, obviously Obi is still on the team, but if you're talking about Julius Randle, and even if you're talking about Jalen Brunson, Josh had brought up before, and other people have brought up that you need another ball handler out there. Steph earlier today, talked about needing another power forward. That would alleviate some of their minutes. But right now, Josh Hart is just getting here. Tibbs did say he thinks he could play some power forward. Even though he's 6'4", I think he's, with his toughness and things like that against some teams, he can do the PJ Tucker thing, I guess, is what Tibbs is thinking. So you might see some of these guys' minutes go down a little bit because your bench is deeper. Tony, thoughts on that? You think, we've seen it tonight, but how's Josh Hart impact these guys' minutes?
I think he'll be able to. To be honest, though, I like him on the floor with Brunson the most. To be honest, like I like what he brings in general, but the chemistry is like they ain't miss a beat. Granted, it's only one game. Let's see how it progresses. Pardon my cat.
Feed the cat, Tony.
Shit, it ain't that, man. But I'm gonna let somebody else go.
The cat's gonna speak for you.
Josh, your thoughts on it, man? The minutes distribution.
Yeah, Josh Hart is going to play 25 minutes a game. There's no doubt about that. And even in a situation where he does get fouls early, I'm cool with that. I thought the Knicks needed somebody to go out and eat some fouls. He's not like a tough kind of player like that, but another player off the bench that can do that, and also contribute, give some good minutes, play some good defense. I have no problem with that at all. And I think even before Josh Hart, we made the trade for him. Tibbs was doing better with the minutes distribution. The last, I want to say, like 5 to 7 games, it's been really good as far as the minutes distribution. I don't think we had a player play over 40 minutes a game, if I'm not mistaken. But Tibbs has been doing a better job with that overall, because Deuce's minutes start to go up a little bit. Obi's minutes start to go up a little bit, playing 4 quarters. Obi was, right? So I think Tibbs was improving from that respect, but I think Josh Hart just kind of solidifies that. And I think that's going to be important moving down the stretch. I think those concerns will be alleviated in regards to Randle playing too many minutes or Brunson playing too many minutes on a night-to-night basis because you have Josh Hart there. So I agree with you.
I think it affects RJ more than anybody else. And then maybe it trickles down from there. Down meaning people under RJ. I don't think it really affects Randle and Brunson too much. I hear what he's saying about the 4. I can't see that on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's going to affect Randle's minutes. And if he does that, that's probably with Randle at the 5. So you know what I mean?
You're probably right. Right. Yeah. If they go small or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think it affects Randle or Brunson. To be honest, I think they're going to be the 2 consistents or the 2 constants.
Yeah, Randle and Brunson tonight. Brunson 38 points, 5 assists. Julius Randle 31 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Those 2 guys are just playing, super high level basketball right now. You know what I mean? And Randle continues to solidify the fact that he's an all-star. He's playing better than in his all-NBA season. He's not going to be all-NBA this year, but he's playing better than that, in my opinion. You know what I mean? There's so many questions about whether or not Randle could duplicate that season. And, he's surpassing that season, which obviously is going to, raise expectations for Randle. And people are going to hope that he can do better than this or, at least continue to duplicate this year after year. But, right now, as long as he stays in the moment, you can't you can't. Nobody can complain about anything that Randall is doing, man. You know what I mean?
I can.
And I'm watching. I'm watching his offense, and his footwork is getting better. Just little things in the way, I'm seeing his pull-up jump shot and, pop, pop, and then on his toes and up in the air, go right, float it with the left, and the way he's able to spin in the lane at times, his footwork is getting a lot better. You know what I mean? It's really like the way that he's playing basketball. Again, 31.
But wait, Sam, I thought they said 20, 27, 28-year-olds can't develop anymore.
That's what people say.
Wow.
I didn't know that. That's what people say. Some people think that.
When
Some people think that.
When people work on their game, they're gonna always get better.
Right. They may not get faster and stronger, but your footwork can always get better. When you get older and you slow down, your footwork usually gets better. If you continue to work at your game. And I'm not saying Randall's slowing down, but when you get older, you've got to now you figure out different ways to be able to get yourself free, so your footwork gets better. Then obviously, just the craftiness gets a little bit better. You know what I mean? And maybe even Brunson is showing him some of the things that he does, because Brunson has amazing footwork. You know what I mean? But I really like the way that he's playing. And Jalen Brunson, of course, is just playing at a high all-star level too. You know what I mean? It's almost no question in my mind that as long as the Knicks play this well and next year, if Jalen Brunson is playing the way that he's playing, he'll be an all-star next season. RJ Barrett, 20 points tonight, 6 rebounds, shot 40% from the field, 33% from the three-point line. Emmanuel Quickly had 15 points and 5 rebounds. Isaiah Hartenstein, 6 points and 14 rebounds tonight. Jericho Sims had 2 points and 10 rebounds tonight. All right, contributions from all the way across the board, ladies and gentlemen. All right, all the way across the board. Good game from the Knicks. Their defense isn't there. They need to figure out how to get stops. You know what I mean? They got to get stops, but so all said and done, good game from the Knicks tonight. They beat the Jazz 126-120. How long, Nate, and I'll come around to everybody, how long, Nate, before you think Josh Hart is starting, or does he start?
Here we go.
Ooh, I was thinking that watching the game. I think the way he played with Brunson, I think that's kind of Tibbs getting a look in a live game to see if they can play well in the starting lineup. And, I mean, the history's already there. They played at Villanova. You could see the synergy with those two in the game. I think, man, if we get on a run and, the games are going to get closer, games are tighter, games are going to be tighter. I could see him sliding into that lineup probably maybe the last month of the season. I think he need to give at least maybe about a couple of weeks.
You got next, Tony. You got it.
Can I go?
Jumping at the bit over there.
He's ready. Go for it.
Saturday or next game. Whatever the next game is.
Monday.
You think
Monday?
so?
Monday? No, that's too early, guys.
I mean, he came in and got 25 minutes.
He's the sixth man now. He's the sixth man. There's no doubt. He is now the sixth man. First guy off the bench.
I don't think he's that. I disagree with both of y'all. So me personally, I don't think at this very moment it's necessary to start Josh Hart right now. They can just leave him in that second unit. He's still gonna get his minutes, right? Even though I like the fit with Brunson. There's no question in that. I still think he's fine where he is. The Knicks don't need to rush and make any changes right now. I think that would be short-sighted for them to do it this soon. If they are going to do it towards the end of the season, everyone knows how I feel. I think he should start at the 3, and RJ should be relegated to the bench. I still think you got to have spacing out there. And if they take Grimes out and put Hart in, put him at the 2 or put him at the 3 or whatever the case may be, I just don't think the Knicks will have enough spacing, in my opinion, on the offensive end on the floor with both Hart and RJ out there. Hart's not a 3-point shooter. RJ is not really that good of a 3-point shooter. And I'm worried about the spacing with that. So if the move does get made, I hope it's made for RJ and not for Grimes. But at this very moment, you can leave Hart where he is. Have him come off the bench and have him bring that spark of energy off the bench.
He's not benching RJ, man. No way in heck.
Everyone keeps saying this. I mean, I
They
don't
will call to
understand why.
fire Tibbs that day if he benches RJ.
Yeah, but the fans don't make the decision, right? Tibbs
I get
makes the
it, but
decision.
it's not going to look good if he gets benched.
Yeah, I mean,
And if the
I
Knicks
don't
are
think-
winning?
I don't think RJ is going to get benched.
No.
I don't think RJ's gonna get benched either. And I was one of the people that agreed, depending on for whom RJ should be benched. But in my scenario, it is for Grimes, and it's no slight to Grimes. It's really the fact that Josh Hart is going to fit in seamlessly in the starting lineup anyway, and Grimes still plays with the second unit. It's not like all his minutes are with the starters. He's used to that, and it's not that far fetched because how did Grimes begin starting like that?
But the question
it wasn't a transition. You know what I mean? Like,
but the question is
injury.
The question. Okay, so what do we think is going to happen? Right? What do we think is going to happen versus what we think is best for the team? I don't think taking Grimes out of that starting lineup for Josh Hart is the best for the team. There's no spacing on the floor when you put Josh Hart and RJ Barrett out there on the floor together in the starting lineup, in my opinion. That's not the best for the team. Now we can make our
you basing it off of
But you have two drivers that can get to the paint too.
Off of Josh Hart's career, or you basing it off of where he's shooting this year?
His skill set. Josh Hart is not a floor spacer. Neither is RJ Barrett. There's limited spacing out there on the floor with those two out there.
I think he's good enough to make his open shots. And I think that it's not going to be an issue of trusting him to shoot the open shot or give him the ball when he's open. So it's like I don't think Grimes has been outstanding shooting the ball.
I never said he was. I'm talking about skill sets, Tony. Skill sets. It's not about whether someone's outstanding. Grimes is not outstanding shooting the basketball. It's the skill set on the floor. Quentin Grimes does not need the basketball, right? He's a shooter. That's what he does.
Neither
and
does
he plays
Josh
3 and
Hart.
D.
Josh
Hart is not a three.
But
Josh Hart is not. Hold on. But Josh Hart is not a 3-point shooter. He's not going to space the floor. Where's the floor spacing in that lineup with Josh Hart and RJ?
You saying he's not going to shoot the ball?
No. I said, where is the floor spacing? That's not his spot on the floor. You're making him less effective on the offensive end by putting Josh Hart out there with RJ Barrett. That's not.
I don't know about he.
No, he can't. No, he can't.
Effectively.
He can shoot the basketball more effectively than Quentin Grimes.
The way Grimes has been shooting the ball, I can guarantee you he could eclipse that or at least be parallel with it. It's the veteran presence. It's the I keep forgetting the word that I'm trying to use. I tried to use it earlier, but basically he's what we inspire Grimes to be. Grimes has more potential than Josh Hart, but he's not there yet. That's all I'm saying.
So if I'm putting Josh Hart in the starting lineup, I'm taking out RJ. I'm just going to be real.
Disagree.
I
don't know. I see their skill sets as actually being the same.
No way.
Yes, it is. They do the same things. They sit. Did you see what he did tonight? He sat outside the 3-point line, and if it was kicked to him, he shot it. He made 2 of them in the fourth quarter. Am I correct?
Yep.
He was 2 for 3 from the 3-point line tonight.
Big one.
Doing the same exact thing that Quentin Grimes did. If someone closed out, he went off the dribble. The same exact thing that Quentin Grimes did. That's the same exact thing that Quentin Grimes does.
But they don't have similar skill sets, Sim. They don't have similar skill sets.
So what's the difference then? Tell me what the difference is.
The difference is Quentin Grimes is a 3-point shooter and Josh Hart is not.
Josh Hart, he shoots at 34% for his career.
He's capable of shooting
First of all, I never said Josh Hart is incapable of hitting a 3-point shot. He can knock down 3-point shots. But to me, spacing on the floor matters. That's my point. Josh Hart is he's not someone that's going to space you out. That's not his role.
But what about the transition game?
Grimes doesn't have the track record to even be considered a 3-point shooter. He's been encouraged by the Knicks to shoot more, and he's done so. Yes, that's part of his role here. But to say that's what he is. I don't think he even you can really define him
But
as
Josh-
So what is he then?
I mean,
a
I
defensive
think
guy
both of them
who's
are
actually
three.
guys.
Both of them are
shown
3 and
that he
D
could do
guards.
more on
Am I-
offense
Josh
than
Hart is not a
Tony Cross.
3-and-D guard.
He
What
is. What
No,
are
he
you
is
talking
not.
about, Josh?
No, Josh
He may
Hart
not-
is not a
he
three-point
may
shooter.
not shoot
Are you
it at
looking
the-
at his career, or are you looking at this year? To be honest,
I'm looking at period, his skill set, period. He's never been the guy to be like knocking down threes and getting
Yeah.
hot from the three-point line.
you know-
That's
No.
never been him.
But
he
neither.
got
But
to- he
Quentin
has a
Grimes.
game
Hold on.
part.
Quentin
Hold
Grimes'
on.
player
Let's
count
go
was
one at a
coming
time
out
for a
of
second.
college.
Quentin Grimes
You know who
is
his player
shooting
count was coming out
34.
of college?
Hold
Josh
on
Hart.
for a minute, Tony. Quentin Grimes is shooting 34.8% from the three-point line this year. 5.3 three-point attempts per game. Right? 5.3. When you look at Josh Hart, now in Portland this year, last year, he was taking 6.4 three-point attempts per game. 37%. In Portland.
This year?
This year, his minutes are down. Well, his minutes are around the same. He's shooting 30% from the three-point line this year.
How many attempts?
He's taking 3 attempts per game.
So less attempts, less efficiency.
But hold on.
And look at
But hold
Portland's offense is different than ours.
But you have different than ours. Exactly. Different than
so
ours.
so wait, hold on.
But hold
time out.
on.
So
But
I just
hold
got you
on.
said
Wait a
no.
minute.
I
Wait
just
a
got-
minute. No, stop for a
Go ahead.
second.
Go ahead.
Because
Go ahead.
if you
Go
go
ahead.
back
Go ahead.
into his, if you go back, he's had years where he shot 5 attempts, 4 attempts, 6 attempts per game. He shot 39%, 34%, 35%.
Okay, can I go now? Portland's offense is different than ours. Look at the way Portland is using Josh Hart in their offense compared to us. They don't have Josh Hart spotting up from 3 outside of
He's
3
not on
as a catch
Portland
and shoot
anymore.
player.
He's not on
No,
Portland.
listen, Tony, listen to me. Sam brought up the numbers comparing what he did on Portland compared to what we're doing. Look
But
at
that
the
was-
way
that was-
Portland.
That was
all right.
exactly
Never
my
mind, go ahead.
point, Josh. You when I said, are you saying he's not going to shoot him? If that's his role,
I never said he wasn't going to shoot him,
But-
Tony.
But you're bringing up his role in Portland compared to here. His role here will be different. He's gonna have to shoot them more frequently. That's gonna be part of his role. He's done that in the past.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead, jump in.
I think honestly, I see what both of y'all are saying about Hart, but I look at it from this standpoint. With Hart, you get more defense, you get more floor game where he can handle the ball in transition, and you get more transition buckets. And also, too, I mean, he's a more willing scorer than Grimes is. Let's be honest. I mean, Grimes will just shoot the 3. Hart can give you inside, outside. He can get to the foul line.
Well,
I mean, I like Grimes. Don't get me wrong. Grimes is a good player.
I mean, I think the only difference that I see in their game is Grimes' passing when he goes to the basket. I haven't seen enough of Josh Hart to see if he can do the same thing. That's
He
the
made some good passes today.
right. That's the only difference that I see in their game. A smarter player, just from what I've seen tonight, I think is Josh Hart. Quentin Grimes, I
Yeah.
think, is very herky-jerky. Right?
Polished. That's the word
More
that
polished.
I kept trying to remember.
And the reality is that Hart is a better player than Grimes right now. Let's just call it what it is. Okay.
It's
He's
not
been in the
about-
league longer.
No.
I know, but I'm just saying, Josh, he's a better player than Grimes is. And whatever gets us to winning, that's what Tibbs is going to do. He's going to play the better player, and that is Hart. Period.
So why not play Josh Hart and Quentin Grimes together? Like, what is this? What is this love affair with RJ Barrett? Like,
because
Josh
I
Hart,
because
It's a
I
small
think
team.
they,
hold on. Let me
I think
finish.
they do too
Josh
much of the
Hart
same
is better
thing.
than RJ Barrett.
I think
Josh
they
Hart is better than RJ Barrett. That's the case.
I think they do too much of the same thing. Quentin Grimes and Josh Hart, in my opinion, do too much of the same thing to have them on the floor together. As a consistent starting unit or something like that. I think they do too much of the same thing. RJ, whether or not you like him or think he does it efficiently, he's more of a shot creator than either one of those guys.
And he can drive.
He's not. RJ's not more of a shot creator than either one of those guys.
I was thinking about something else. I'm just typing in something. Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh, I was gonna say, right? Neither one of those guys are shot creators. So I think they do too much of the same thing to have him out there starting together. Now, do I think Josh Hart is going to start? I don't know if he's going to start. 25, 24 games left to the season. I don't know if you do that right now. If you talk about going into training camp next year, they're both out there. I think it might be Josh Hart. You know what I'm saying? Do you disrupt it right now? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah.
And we've only seen one game to really have a sample size for the Knicks. Let's see what happens in like 5 or 6 games, and let's see if Josh Hart continues to play those minutes and how and his efficiency and scoring and all that. And then, then Tibbs is gonna have to make a decision. I think if we're in the playoff fight and go ahead.
So you look at the 3-point percentage. I just pulled up catch and shoot numbers, right? Josh Hart on catch and shoots in Portland was shooting 2 attempts per game, and he was shooting them at 33%. Quentin Grimes shooting 5 attempts per game and catch and shooting them at 35%. So the Knicks, that's what I'm saying. The Knicks use the 3-point shooting for Quentin Grimes differently than Portland's used it for Josh Hart.
But he's on
that's what I'm
the
saying.
New York
he
Knicks
fits
now.
Better. But
this
is what I'm saying. Tony said that Quentin Grimes does not have a track record. On this team, Quentin Grimes has a track record of being a catch and shoot guy.
But listen, this is what Tony was saying about Josh Hart. He's on a different team. He has the same skill set. Maybe they used him differently, but if you look at the year before, they did not use him differently.
The year before that.
And he was more effective.
Let's go to the year before. Let's look at the catch and shoot numbers from last year.
Yep.
And when I say he doesn't have a track record, I'm saying this is only his second year, right?
I'm talking about the role that he's being used in the offense, Tony. You keep talking about how long he's been in the NBA.
But you're talking about the role that he was used in Portland. We're talking about the role that he's going to be used in New York. I mean, you've seen it tonight, the role that he was used in. You've seen it tonight. And both of his 3-point attempts, all of his 3-point attempts were catch and shoot. They were not off the dribble. They were all catch and shoot. He is a 3-and-D guard. Kareem Jones, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. He said Josh is 3-and-D, but at the same time, I see what Josh is saying. Bench RJ.
That's not going to happen, man.
And it has nothing to do with anybody hating RJ. Like, you talk about the strengths and what Josh Hart gives you, right? And I don't think this is going to happen. I agree with you. I don't think it's going to happen. But I'm not coming from a place of what I don't think is going to happen. I'm coming from a place where I think it's going to improve the team. And to me, if you want to talk about starting Josh Hart, he needs to play that 3 spot.
Yeah,
and RJ Barrett needs to be relegated to the bench.
I just don't think don't think either one of those guys can do what RJ does, and they don't have the size. You talk about now 6'5" and 6'4".
Right. You talk about really small.
What's the size for?
If Josh,
what's it for?
I'm asking a question.
5'6", then it'd be a different story.
What makes size an advantage for RJ Barrett?
His ability to create.
Are we just?
It helps him it helps him to be able to create. Right? It gives us a little bit more size. 6 rebounds tonight for RJ Barrett. It gives us a little bit more size when we're playing against 3 7-footers out there on the floor, right? Versus having, a 6'1" guy, a 6'5" guy, and a 6'4" guy, and then a 6'8" guy. Right? That size means something. And then his ability to put the ball on the floor without having it to be that someone kicked it to him and then he attack the closeout, right?
At that size.
Right? You can say, okay, we're going to give it to him in the mid-post. Let's see if he can go to work in there. Right? It's another way for him to be able to create in that lineup.
I don't think his size has anything to do with him creating. Jalen Brunson's the smallest guy on the court, and he can create. So his size has nothing to do with that.
Having
as far as the rebounding.
I know. I'm not talking about just RJ. We're talking about the mix of players on the floor. Right, so when you have RJ out there, that's another corner type of guy because of his size. It's another corner type of guy. So you could put him in the low post, you could put him in the mid post, you could put him out on the wing. You can't do that with Quentin Grimes or Josh Hart, but you can do that with RJ. So now you have more guys that can go to those areas. The only 2 guys you have in that lineup that can go to those areas and you can throw him the ball in those spots is Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. Without that, everything is out on the perimeter now. Every single thing. RJ is able to go to those spots. If he create, is he always efficient off of it? No, he's not. But he's able to do that. If you got Quentin Grimes and Josh Hart in there, everything is standing around on the 3-point line. Everything is standing out there.
And let me ask you that. You don't think that would be better for this team with Randle and Mitch when he comes back?
No, I think you got to have a guy that you can throw it into that mid-post every once in a while. You need a couple of them out there so that you can play off of, so that your whole thing isn't just predicated on just that. I mean, we're not a great three-point shooting team as it is. It gives you more flexibility, in my opinion, in that lineup. Now, can RJ get his defense together? Can RJ get his defense together? That's another question.
I just disagree.
That it doesn't give us more flexibility? We just have a bunch of guys running around outside the 3-point line? That's what we'll be doing.
I know. I didn't say that. I think it gives us less flexibility because you got a guy who's on it. First of all, when Mitch comes back, you got a guy already clogging the paint, right? Randle, does play on the perimeter, but he does drive to the lane. And then you have RJ, who needs to get buckets within the paint as well. So it clogs the paint up. It makes us less flexible. I want the Knicks to be a little bit more spread out. To me, RJ is a clog in the offense, especially playing with Randle. They don't fit well together, period. And I think Josh Hart, if you want to look at his catch and shoot numbers from this one game and say that he can be another Quentin Grimes, I think it's good to have both of them out there on the floor. Not to mention what they can bring you defensively, the other side of the floor.
I understand what they can bring you defensively. I get that. I just think you need to have more flexibility on the offense. I think RJ gives you more flexibility because Randle's shooting the ball at a high clip from the 3-point line, right? Obviously, Jalen Brunson is shooting. Quentin Grimes is shooting it. So and RJ is capable of shooting it. And capable gives you a threat, right? It gives you a threat. So they're not just going to leave him out there. It still spreads the floor out because they're not just going to leave RJ out there by himself, right? They're still going to come out and cover him. That's what spreading the floor is. Spreading the floor isn't just making the three. It's about, do I respect the person that's out there shooting it enough where I'm going to cover that line? And then obviously you got to be able to have your players spaced in the correct positions.
Who would be the Knicks' best catch and shoot player on that particular lineup? Let's say the Knicks go with Hart in the starting lineup, Hart at the 2, RJ at the 3, and the rest of the starting lineup as it is. Who would be the Knicks' catch and shoot threat on the floor? Or their best one?
At that point, it would be Hart. But you're basing everything on Portland. He's not on Portland now. He's on the Knicks.
No, I'm not basing everything off of Portland. I'm basing it off how the Knicks run their offense. The Knicks need to have a catch and shoot guy on the floor. It makes them more flexible.
And what I'm saying is that's what he is.
Talking about?
No, he's okay.
What lineup are you referring to?
He's never been that player though.
Okay. All right. I mean,
he hasn't.
You just looked at him average 19.9 points per game in Portland last year for the 26 games that he was there.
And what was he shooting on catch and shoot
whatever games
threes?
that he was there? He shot 37% from the 3-point line. It took 6.4 attempts. You think they were off the dribble? They were not off the dribble.
But they were on catch and shoot. I got the numbers right here. He shot 30% on catch and shoot threes, and he only took 2 per game.
Last year or this year?
Last year he took 3. This year he took 2.
He took 6 a game. I'm looking at it right now.
Catch and shoot.
And what was it? The percentage.
Last season, hold on, where is it? Where you at? Last season on catch and shoot threes, he shot. Well, I got Grimes up right now. Grimes shot 3, and he had him at a 40%.
I'm not talking about
41.2%.
Okay, about him
now let me go to Josh Hart now. Here we go. Catch and shoot. Josh Hart. He shot 3-pointers a game on catch and shoot. He shot 30%. 30% on catch and shoot. He's never been a catch and shoot kind of player. Never.
I disagree. I think he's a 3-and-D guy.
And for Tony to say, he's going to come here and magically become a catch and shoot player, you mentioned track record, Tony. What's the track record?
I think he's a 3-and-D guy. He's proven that he can hit it. He may not shoot it at 40%.
First of all, you just broke down catch and shoot specifically.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at track record from 3-point percentage. That's it. Like I didn't go deep into analytics
Right,
to
but
find
that's
find
what
a
I was talking
loophole,
about.
to find a loophole.
It wasn't a
to
loophole.
fit my
The
specific
Knicks
point. Like,
use
I
Quentin
could do
Grimes as
that
a
if
catch
you
and
want.
shoot player. The Knicks use Quentin Grimes as a catch and shoot player. You take him out the starting lineup with Randall and Mitch and all them, you lose that. That's a part of your offense that you lose.
Maybe Tibbs changes
and
it
God
now.
knows, hold on, and God knows how bad the Knicks been offense has been the past few years, right? Because that player was missing. Quentin Fournier, he gave us some of that. Quentin Grimes gave us some of that, but that was a missing element in our offense for a long time. Now you have it, and you want to take that away for someone who does not play that role?
I disagree.
To me, that just doesn't make sense.
I think he does. I think he does.
I think you have to open this debate after
I
the
like Josh Hart.
He
I really
literally
do. I think
did
he
it
should be in
tonight.
the
We literally watched him do it in the fourth quarter tonight.
Okay.
Right? I mean, the two threes that he made were literally off of kickouts, and he knocked them down.
I'm not saying he's unable to do it. I'm saying
I know,
Tony
but
put up track
I
record.
mean,
I
but
was
you
just
see
gonna
the
track
gun right
I
there.
just brought up the track record.
You
I
see
was
the
just
gun
gonna
right there.
give you credit and say I could see Tibbs ending a game with Grimes and Hart.
Oh yeah,
You know
especially
what
for
I mean?
defensive purposes.
We'll compromise, Tony. We'll compromise.
I was literally gonna say that, and you started being all mean and
Let me
stuff.
get my man. I think my man Spree is calling. Spree, what's popping with you, my
We'll
brother? How you
compromise,
feeling?
Tony. You the man.
Sim,
What's going on with you?
DC, baby.
What's
DC,
Yes,
coming
sir.
soon.
February
I'll be
24th.
seeing you there. I'll
Yes,
be
sir.
seeing you there. I like the Hart move. We have more versatility now. He has many options to close if RJ doesn't have it. And RJ was okay. I liked how RJ played late. He deserved to finish. If Grimes doesn't have it, we have now versatility to finish. And Hart's a winner. He's defensively. He gives us a jolt. He will inspire Julius. Well, he'll inspire when we get lax sometimes at guard contesting the three. When you see him do that, it'll inspire your club to give the extra effort. He's one of those guys where he's going to make other dudes play harder. But one other thing I want to say, Emmanuel Quickly, Sim, I was very nervous in the preseason. And yes, I'm nuts. I actually get nervous in preseason. Emmanuel Quickly's been terrific for like 40 games.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had any issues with Emmanuel Quickly for like the last 40 games. Do you agree?
I agree 100%. I think Emmanuel Quickly's been playing great. Been playing great basketball for the Knicks.
Yeah. I mean, he's just so much more under control. Like was it just my criticism in the preseason was me getting nervous? I know he'll jack one, but I don't care about he's so under control. He's manipulating the game beautifully. His defense is great. I'm proud of him because I was going nuts. What was it that clicked for Emmanuel Quickly?
Just a young guy learning to play the basketball game, figuring out what his role is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say good coaching.
I'm proud of him.
There you go.
The game got slower.
See how many tomatoes I get.
Right.
The game got closer or slower.
You mean for him?
Yeah, I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's playing well. He's in a nice groove. You could just tell, he's just hooping. I'm proud of him. Hart, Sim, let me ask you this question about Hart. The rebounding obviously is elite.
For a guard.
For a guard, it's elite. Is there other guards that get 8 rebounds a game? How many guys are we talking about in the league that can do that?
Not many under 6'5". Not many. I think they showed the list today.
He out rebounds Draymond.
Not many, and it's all heart and hustle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Listen, you know
I mean,
how
when
I
I
feel
look at
about
that, that's
Mitch.
the first thing I looked at in his stats is his rebounds are off the charts.
Yeah,
All about effort.
and it's all loose ball rebounds. Obviously, I mean he can jump and grab rebounds, strength, having a nose for the ball, understanding where it's gonna be. That's what it all is. That's what it is. It's all hustle, all heart. No pun intended, but it's all heart.
Yeah.
I mean,
Let me ask you this one last question
Mhm.
before I go. Obviously, we want to. I think we're going to sustain it. We added a piece. It showed them that they think when you add a guy like that and make a trade. Obviously, Cam. We knew the thing with Cam, but I think they're inspired a little bit. They know we're in the mix. We're trying to win, which is the way to go. I don't believe in losing. I don't believe in that. We have a lot of picks. Obviously, I want to win in the playoffs. That's the ultimate goal. I think this guy can give us a chance to have a shot. But I think we're set up good, Sim. Like, we didn't panic at the trade deadline. We didn't do something crazy. If it wasn't there, if the price wasn't right, I feel like we're in really good position. Jalen's happy. We got his boy on the team. I just feel like the organization is as healthy as it's been in a long time. Do you feel that as a fan, Sim?
Oh, definitely. I feel that. I see a lot of people, get mad at the front office, about moves or lack of moves or whatever. But, the only thing I would say is that they're kind of conservative, but I do think they're doing a good job. I think the front office is doing a good job in making decisions and not just jumping at the next shiny thing that they can throw a bunch of stuff at and get. Like, I do feel like they're being very, they're I don't want to say intellectual. I can't think of the word right now, but they're being smart about it.
Strategic.
What I mean? Strategic about it, taking their time, filling in the gaps with, you look at the team, they're filling in it like with glue type guys. Josh Hart, Quentin Grimes is a glue type guy that they drafted. You know what I'm saying? Even Isaiah Hartenstein, even though, we were all a little bit like, what's going on with this guy a little earlier in the season, he's really coming into what he does now. He's one of those glue type of guys. You know what I mean? And it makes you look.
Yeah.
Randall's an all-star. Brunson's all-star caliber. I'm going to say an all-star. He just didn't make the all-star team. You get a superstar in here and,
Let's go.
Sam, I think there's still
That's
hope
what I'm
for,
saying.
I'm telling you, like, they added some nice pieces. You get a superstar in here, and for all of this arguing that we was just doing about RJ and all of that stuff, he's gonna be the guy that probably gets traded for an all-star.
Hey, we could have had Mitchell.
Or a superstar. I ain't going front. With the way things are going, he'll be the guy.
Two things.
I'll leave
I
you
don't.
with
I
this.
think.
I'll leave
I
you
don't
with
think
this,
it's
and
too late
this is
for.
my last
I
comment.
forgot Speed still there.
Yeah. Go ahead, Speed, and then Tony, come on. Go ahead, Speed.
Yeah, Tony, you're my guy. This is my last thing. I feel good about where we are. I think we got good guys on this team that care. I think they're competing, they're rebounding, they're playing as a team. I think we have the front office has the ability to make a big move with the pieces and the picks. We have ability, but we don't need to do anything crazy because it's not just about this year. Obviously, we can win in the playoffs. It's possible. I'd like to get Mitchell Robinson back. I haven't forgot about him. We're forgetting. We're doing this all without Mitch on the glass too, which is kind of scary. But we're in a good position. I do still think if we can strike, they're being patient, but they're eventually going to strike. You know that. I just feel really good right now because we got more winning players on the team. Julius is finally, people are starting to see the light on the work that Julius has put in because he is a very talented player. He just needed guidance. He needed a point guard, and he's in great shape. Sim, you have a good night, my friend. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
I see you in a couple of weeks, my friend. Peace.
All right, man. Peace.
Tony, you was getting ready to say something?
One, I don't think it's too late for Brunson this year. I think he still might end up an all-star. We'll see what happens.
I think they already chose. Didn't they already choose?
Oh, they showed the alternates already. Yeah,
they chose the alternates or whatever, or whoever's taking the place of people who are injured. I think they chose them.
Okay, we'll see.
Sim, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You good?
Sim, I am happy with this front office. I am a little disappointed that we did not get Mitchell because I think Mitchell takes us to another level with the team we have. But I do understand that they're conservative and strategic with their moves. And like I've always said, and I'll bring up my Lions as a perfect example. You draft well, you build your young players up, and then you make smart free agent moves. And that's exactly what the Knicks are doing. They brought in Hartenstein. That was a smart move. You brought in Brunson. That was a smart move. And you develop players like Grimes. You develop players like Deuce, Obi. You develop the young players, and then, you go make a move for a big dog at some point.
Yeah. Yeah, Eddie C said, "What about Kyrie? I'm not messing with him. That's just my opinion. I'm not messing with Kyrie.
Yeah.
I'm not messing with him." Go ahead, Josh.
Sim, I don't know if we were ever going to get to this. Maybe I don't know if it was going to be in a future show or probably this one, but I was noticing something about the Knicks cap situation with Josh Hart here, right? And let's say we either pick up his player option for next year, don't extend him yet, or we extend him, right?
Mhm.
The Knicks, as it looks like right now, they're going to be in what I think is the perfect position you want to be for a team that's not contending, but also not in the lottery. And that's like right underneath the luxury tax.
Okay.
Because no matter, say again?
No, I just said okay. Oh, no, I was just saying okay. Just listening.
Because even if they go above the salary cap, which they are, whether they're above the salary cap by $1 million or almost at the luxury tax threshold, it doesn't matter. They're still limited in what they can do. It means it doesn't really mean as much for salary cap purposes and some of the rules that they can't do. And Josh Hart makes $13 million next season,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Let's say he opts out and asks for another. The Knicks are just like $2 million underneath that threshold right now, as of right now this season. Keep everything the same. And then Derrick Rose is off the books, and then you sign your first round players or whatever. They'll probably be a little bit less than that, so maybe $4 million under that tax threshold. Josh Hart requests a extension. He wants a little bit more money per season. They'll probably get right back up to where they are right now. So I think it's perfect. If the Knicks want to extend him, I think they're not going to be a luxury tax team, and they still can be able to make moves, trades, or what have you. Still have the veterans exceptions and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So just a FYI.
Yeah, they're in a good spot, man. And they have large enough contracts that they're willing to move in the event that there's a star player that becomes available, that they feel fits the team and so on. So they're definitely in a good spot to be able to, and they got draft picks, still got draft picks to be able to throw at a player, if somebody becomes available. You know what I mean?
That Fournier contract's going to be huge next year.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad they didn't trade him right now because his expiring contract next year, $18 million. That's going to be huge in a big trade if Knicks can pull it off.
Expiring contract.
And don't be surprised if Hart gets a contract starting at 18 and it ends up being rescinding.
Descending, you mean?
Descending,
Yep.
right.
Descending.
Right.
What'd I say?
Rescinding.
Oh,
We don't want a rescinding.
I don't think it'll be I don't think it'll be at 18. I think that'll put the Knicks over the luxury tax. So I don't think it'll be that. I think it'll be something more consistent per year. I don't think it'll be a descending one. Or it might even be ascending.
That's the thing about Josh Hart, right? What he does doesn't show up in the stat sheet. So it kind of almost, I don't want to say limits how much he can make, but it puts you in a category of, value. You know what I mean? So, he's always going to be a player that probably outvalues his contract number. You know what I mean? Because of the intangibles that he brings on the floor, I think. So, we'll see.
Agreed.
We'll see how that works. The Knicks tonight, 52 rebounds tonight for the Knicks. Jazz.
I felt like we got out-rebounded.
No, they out-rebounded the Jazz 52-38. Only 18 assists, 23 for the Jazz. Only 6 turnovers tonight for the Knicks. Right,
good.
6 turnovers, 10 for the Jazz. The Knicks shot 45% from the field, 33% from 3, 73% from the free throw line. 48 points in the paint for the Knicks, 64 for the Jazz with all those tall dudes down there. 24 second chance points for the Knicks, 8 for the Jazz. 18 fast break points for the Knicks, 11 for the Utah Jazz. Jazz only shot 28% from the three-point line tonight.
That transition game is going to be important going forward.
So the Knicks play Brooklyn on Monday. Right, I was watching some of that Brooklyn game before the Knicks game tonight.
They look good.
And they started. Their starting lineup tonight was almost everybody that they traded for.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight
they played well too.
Right. Let me see. They started and they lost. They lost to Philly 101-98. Right, but the Nets tonight they started Spencer Dinwiddie, who they just traded for. Right? They started Mikal Bridges. They started Cam Johnson. They started Dorian Finney-Smith. And they started Nick Claxton. And then off the bench was Cam Thomas, Ben Simmons, Day'Ron Sharpe, Sharpe only played 2 minutes. Royce O'Neal. And the crazy thing is, given all the games that Cam Thomas, everything he's been doing, he only played 18 minutes tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Only played 18 minutes.
Joe Harris didn't play?
Joe
Yeah, he
Harris
did.
did play. He played 16 minutes tonight, yeah. Patty Mills played 7 minutes tonight.
That's because they know what he's capable of offensively. The his problem
Defense.
is tunnel vision. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't see the pass. So you know what I mean? Like I think they want him to be effective as a 6-man, a microwave, as opposed to somebody who disrupts the flow of the starting lineup.
Right. Mikal
What's
Bridges.
surprising? Oh,
Mikal Bridges tonight.
If you
Go ahead.
if he was if they were just like rebuilding, remember they start in this thing with a cushion. If they were just rebuilding and they now you could start him, see where he's at, develop him, and kind of mold him into the player you want him to be.
Right. Go ahead, Nate.
what surprises me, well, I mean, maybe it's a surprise, maybe to y'all, maybe it's not. You would think after the whole KD and Kyrie situation, Ben Simmons would be starting, and he's not. He's coming off the bench. And I say that because he's a good passer and he's a good defender. And if you look at their starting lineup, they have a lot of length and a lot of wings. Like you've got Bridges who can switch on to other players. You've got Finney Smith who can play multiple positions. I would have figured Ben Simmons would be in the starting lineup with Claxton, but I guess in my mind, I think Jock Vaughn likes Simmons coming off the bench as the backup point guard. Because you watch the game, he did handle the ball a lot up top,
right,
and kind of facilitated the offense.
I just kind of think Ben Simmons isn't that good right now.
So bad that I wanted to trade for Ben Simmons. I feel so bad that I want to trade for that guy.
Hold on.
He fell off.
I remember that conversation too.
Takes that don't age well. We got you.
Yeah. I think I think right now it's just Ben Simmons.
I remember that conversation.
Ben Simmons just isn't. He's not good right now. You know what I mean? Who knows if he's going to make it back? But he's just not good right now, so he's not starting. And but Mikal Bridges for the Nets tonight, 23 points tonight, 6 rebounds. He's probably looking at this team right here, might end up being their leading scorer out there. You know what I mean? And if he becomes a guy, I don't know if he's ever going to be a superstar, but if he becomes a guy right now that can give him, 20 to 22 points per game with the contract that he's on, that's a pretty good deal. And as far as the Nets are concerned, with what they say, they're looking at him as a guy that they want to keep around for a little while. I don't know if they're looking to build around him, but looking at him as a piece. You know what I mean?
What if though, Sam? What if Mikal Bridges turns out to be? Because he has the physical ability for it. I think he has a little bit of a bag.
He was the forgotten man in Phoenix.
Yeah, I hope that for the Nets' sake, I hope it doesn't happen. I don't want to see him become that guy with the Nets, but I don't know. What if
he watched the transition of Booker? You know what I mean? So he kind of like
he's gonna get plenty of minutes to do it, guys.
Yeah, we'll see. You know what I mean? I mean, he might have been in a perfect position being out there with Devin Booker, CP3 and them guys, where he can kind of play the background, do what he does, pick up some things, hone his skills, and then now he gets a chance to. We'll see. You know what I mean? We'll see. But 23 points, 6 rebounds tonight. He's a great defender. We'll see. We'll see what he's able to do over there. See what he's able to do. It'd be funny if somehow he ended up on the Knicks and, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart,
Villanova squad
got back together. You know what I mean? That'd be funny. Let me get to a phone call here. Then listen to Tom Thibodeau. Obviously, he's going to have some things to say about Josh Hart. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Yes, hello. This is George from the Bronx.
What's going on, George? How you feeling, man?
I'm good. Hey, Tony. Hey, Josh. Hey, Nate. How you guys doing tonight?
Good, man. How you doing?
Okay. Listen, I'm feeling really good tonight. I'm really happy with the addition of Josh Hart. J Hart, we have a J Hart now, and we have an I Hart. I'm really happy with his addition. He plays well. He's a dog, like he said. You know. Yes, he's going to take minutes from Deuce McBride. He's going to take Quentin Grimes minutes, but they're going to benefit because they get to practice with this guy now. They get to learn things from him, having him in the practice, seems like day in, day out. You know, I'm really also happy that we didn't trade for Donovan Mitchell. Because if we did, we wouldn't have the team that we have now. We wouldn't have Grimes. We wouldn't have JR. We wouldn't have no picks to have gone out to get Josh Hart, because we was going to be raped by Danny Ainge. So it's to our benefit that we didn't.
I mean,
it's to our benefit that we didn't make that trade. I think our superstar is going to come through free agency. It's going to come through free agency. It's not going to come through us trading, because we really can't afford to give up anything that we have right now. We need all these guys. We need them all. We are building a team for the future. This is just my personal opinion. We've been a team for the future, and everybody we got, we need.
The only thing with the free agency thing is, where's the money going to come from with free agency, right? Because we got, money wrapped up in Randall and Brunson and RJ, and they're good contracts.
Right.
They're good contracts, and then there's money spread around, right? The Knicks, when you talk about free agency, they don't have any money until, if you're talking about 24, 25, maybe they'll have some money then. Because, Brunson, Randall, RJ still on the books. They've only got $92 million committed, right, for that year. So then,
right.
Maybe you're talking that year, but then you still got to try to fill in the rest of your pieces. You know what I mean? Because you got to figure out Obi Toppin that year. You got to figure out Quickly that year. Quentin Grimes, Jericho Sims. You know what I mean? Josh Hart, you got to, he'll probably have possibly have some kind of contract extension or something like that. That would be the year for a free agent.
Then you won't have the rest of the team.
The thing is, though, when you look around the league at all the stars, they're signed. It's not that many. It's not that many years. It's not that many star free agents out there. They're signed. So I think you're gonna have to trade for one.
Here is my question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even if we go out on the limb and bring in a star, what star is going to take us to chip potential? Because that's what we're working towards. We're working towards becoming a contender for the chip. There's no one player we're going to bring in at this point who's going to get us there. So why hold the whole team ransom? Why ransom the team to bring somebody in who's not going to get us out of the second round?
I had one.
Mitchell.
I'm listening.
KD.
Luka.
KD wasn't coming.
KD what?
I know, Sim, but he's saying I want to know what stars are out there.
He's saying that are available to come. Not like who would you?
No. What I'm saying is this: we bring in KD. What would we have to give up to get him?
You're going to have to give up 2 of your young players. You're going to have to give up 4 first-round picks. You're going to have to give up another bench piece or whatever. But KD can get you to championship contention. That's why there's a line up the block for KD, because everybody knows he can get you there.
Okay, but now I'm talking about the Knicks. I'm not talking about Phoenix. I'm not talking about one of those teams who already are what's in contention for that. I'm talking about us, who's a middle tier team. We give up 2 of our young guys. Pick the 2 we're going to give up. Grimes and who else? Because they're going to want Grimes. They're going to want somebody else.
RJ.
And then
no. Picks. To me, I'm doing RJ and Obi.
You doing RJ and Obi, but is that what the other team wants?
But the
You see what
thing
I'm
is,
saying? It's
no, George, I hear you. I hear exactly what you're saying, and I get it. I get the pessimism about it. But at least pick up the phone and inquire.
I mean,
for the longest time, the
either
Knicks
way,
have not done that. For the longest time.
and Grimes is not going to be a deal breaker, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be the picks.
right. If it came to KD, but now what did Utah want for Mitchell?
Really, that came down to
What did they want? They wanted 6 first-round picks.
No,
They wanted
They wanted
four.
6
No,
picks,
they wanted
right?
four.
It
I
came
think
down.
it depends on who you ask.
It came down to 3 first-round picks, right? The Knicks did not want to provide 3 unprotected picks, right? They were going to give them 2 unprotected picks and then a 3rd pick that had protections on it. Utah wanted that pick to be unprotected. It was going to be, I think, RJ and I don't know who else was in there, and then 3 unprotected
Grimes
first-round
and Grimes.
picks, and possibly Grimes, right? Maybe. But I really think it came down to the picks. The Knicks didn't want to give up those picks that were unprotected. You know.
Well, the thing that I heard was 3 unprotected, but they wanted like 4 protected ones too. They wanted a whole slew of picks. They wanted Grimes and they wanted RJ, right?
Well, early they were talking something crazy like 7, 8 picks, but by the time it was really time for it to get done, it was down to 3.
Yeah,
Because
down to 3.
Because earlier on, here's the thing. From what I read, the Knicks actually gave a better offer earlier on than they did later. Utah refused it because they were trying to get these crazy amount of picks.
They refused.
It was like RJ,
Tried to
Obi.
get more, exactly.
It was like RJ, Obi, Mitchell Robinson, and 3 unprotected first-round picks. And they turned it down.
That's a lot.
You know.
They turned that down. Yeah, that's way too much.
But you know.
But I like where we at.
I mean, I like where we're at, but I still think you need a star. You know, if we want to get over the top and win the championship, you need a star guy. I think Julius has proved that he could probably be a number 2 guy. You know, on this team, if you get a star guy, you know, it's going to be Brunson, Randall, 2 or 3, either way you go about it, and then that star is going to be number 1. I still think you need that guy in order for this team to get over the top. Still think you need him.
Right.
For this team to get over the
definitely
top.
need another consistent scorer who can give us points on a regular. That'll push RJ to number 4. You know, people saying, you know, let's get rid of the RJ. Let's get rid of RJ. I like the dog that's in RJ. I like how RJ play. He just got to get more consistent at hitting them shots because he's not afraid to go to the basket.
Yeah, I like RJ.
He's not afraid. RJ. He goes down in there.
Yeah, I like RJ, but I think if a star guy comes, I think RJ is going to be the guy between those 3 that goes. That's what I think.
That big.
You know what I mean? And you know, we'll see. You know what I mean? The Knicks I don't know if he's the guy or not, but the Knicks may try to re-engage, or Chicago try and re-engage the Knicks, or they just get together and talk about Zach LaVine again over the summer.
Right,
I don't know if he's the guy though.
The plot thickens, bro.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the guy.
All I'm looking forward to now is just us making the playoffs, and hopefully we can get to the second round. Because if we get that 6th seed, the way that is looking, we're gonna have the Bucks in the first round.
Yeah.
Or Cleveland.
That's the way that is looking.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out.
Yeah, if they flip flop that position, and then being that the Bucks got Jay Crowder, and depending on how he works out with them, they might move up in the standing. Yeah. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see. It's
George.
always a pleasure listening to you guys, man. Keep up the good work, man.
Appreciate you, man.
I'll talk to y'all again soon, man.
Always a pleasure, my brother. Peace.
Sir.
All right, fellas.
All right, let's listen in to Tom Thibodeau, ladies and gentlemen. Interested to see if anybody asks him about Josh Hart and the playing time and this, that, and the third. You know what I mean?
All the questions are that.
Yeah, let's listen into Tom Thibodeau and then break that down.
We're good.
Sort of what you expected from Josh today?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't quite sure, but that's who he is, you know, so, and to be able to do it, you know, the way he did, it was unusual. I mean, he was at the game, he got there, you know, he had to go through his physical yesterday, and then he drove down to Philly to be with the team, then come back today on a back-to-back, and to jump out there and play as well as he did, credit to him. brought a lot of energy and toughness to the game.
Hey, Coach. Sorry, no load management for you on the questions. Hart, 4 offensive rebounds, 4 steals, 4 assists in his debut. This kind of who you've spoken to, even when you guys played Portland earlier in the season, that he is off the stat sheet, great rebounding. Now that you've seen it on the court next to these guys, I noticed between Emmanuel, Quentin, RJ, and Josh, you might have 4 guys you're comfortable closing with on the wing.
Yeah, no, it's great it's great to have that depth. I think all 4 of those guys are more than capable, and they're all willing to sacrifice and put the team first, and that's what we need. We need everyone to do that. And Jalen and Julius were, their usual selves, and we played off that extremely well. But I thought the intangible stuff that Josh brought was critical. I thought Quick gave us good minutes. I thought our 2 centers really battled on the board, rebounding wise. I think 24 rebounds between the 2 of them. So we had a lot of guys step up and play well. And then RJ got going in the second half, and we needed everyone.
I think Josh played the last 60 minutes.
Yeah.
Not as much in the first half. Did you just want to put him out there for that stretch?
Yeah, no, that in the way the game was going, and Utah is very explosive. So every time we got up, 10 points, they'd come right back. And so we felt like we knew we couldn't let our guard down. So we were trying to buy some time, and then, but you never felt real comfortable with the game. They're so talented offensively, and they're hard to guard. So, we needed everyone.
There were a number of times in the game where it didn't look like it was Josh's first time. Like, I think it was his second steal when there was a cutter coming into the paint, and he ripped it from the corner and noticed that we got the steal. Like, he might have messed up communication because it was his first time or something like that. Are you surprised in those sorts of tinier ways that it looked as seamless?
No, I think, the thing is, and you can see it. Like, you look at, the offensive rebounding, defensive rebound, 4 steals, his anticipation in the way he reads the ball, and he's quick. He's real quick to the ball. And a lot of that is toughness and competitiveness. And sometimes I don't think we put enough stock in that. And it's critical to winning. And how hard a guy will sprint back in defensive transition. Is he willing to go to the floor to get a ball? Will he stick his nose in and battle 2 or 3 big guys and come up with it? He's always around the ball, and I think that's what makes him so valuable.
Hey, Tom. Tonight, Julius was talking to Jericho at one point. Kind of far, my guess, he was advising him how to switch those 4-5 pick and rolls and screens that Utah runs. Is there a positive correlation between Julius's all-star play this season and how much he's talking and leading out there on the court?
Yeah, and I think good veteran leadership, and that's what I like when everybody's talking to each other. And I think that's important, and to have the ability to read things when you're on the floor and to have an awareness. And so I think Julius has done a good job with our big guys, mentoring them, and all the players. It's a big part of winning, and our young guys they're growing every day, but we have the right veterans around them too. And we have guys that aren't in the rotation right now that are helping in that way. And when you need a whole team pulling together, and that's what we have. We're fortunate to have that.
Obviously, Josh is here to play. But it's a tough conversation with somebody like McBride, who you've been very complimentary about taking him out of the rotation.
Yeah, it's not easy, but that's part of being a team and putting the team first. And I love Deuce, and I love the way he's played. And so, just stay ready. And then, I love who he is as a person. I love the way he's worked. I love his improvement. And you never know when it comes back around. So, and nothing is set in stone. So we're still trying to figure this out.
Julius in the last week has taken 4 different kinds of really, really high floaters on against shot blockers. 3 were against Embiid, and then he had another tonight against Kessler. Is that specifically? I know he kind of added the floater over the summer, but he hadn't taken those really really high ones yet. Is that something he's been trying to add?
No, he's got you see him working on it. And he's got great touch. I like the way he's attacking the basket. To me, I know you don't want to see that. No one does. It's like I know when I sat on the other bench coaching against him when he's attacking the rim, and it sets up everything else for him. And then he knocks down a couple threes. Now they come up on him. He uses his quickness and his strength really well. And then to add the floater, Kessler's a heck of a shot blocker, right? So to have that as part of in your repertoire, because the way he gets that off, even if he misses it because the big's coming, it sets up the offensive rebound also. So it's a lot of good things can come from that. So, but I love when he's attacking the rim. When I see his aggressiveness, I know we're going to be hard to be beat that night.
Do you feel like you guys, with the players that you have now, with the addition of Hart, do you feel like you could be the best, that you are the best offensive rebounding team in the league?
I think it's within our grasp. I think we were the number one team thus far in terms of second chance points. I think we've been first all year, so I think this should add to it. I know rebound margin. I think we're pretty high in that as well with top 5. I know that, so I think those rebounding is a big part of winning, and the better we rebound, the better our chances of winning are.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Tom Thibodeau. Reaping his praises on Julius Randle, Josh Hart, the rest of the team. One question before I get to something that was in the chat. Tony, how many wins, just looking at the rest of the season, I don't know if or how good does Josh Hart make the Knicks? Being that glue piece, how good does he make the team? Obviously with Brooklyn, who knows if they can play 500 basketball, they can remain 10 games above 500, which is going to keep them in the conversation for that 6th seed, right? And they've got a lot of talent on the team. So, we'll see how they're able to come together. If they drop, the Knicks can move up into that 5th or 6th spot.
My goal is
yeah.
10 games. My goal is 10 games over. So I don't know if we could reach it and stay there, but that's my goal. I think he puts us closer to that, being able to achieve it for sure. A lot of things got to go right because the schedule is still, remaining is still tough, but we could beat anybody. I really feel that way. You know what I mean? So if we kind of get our act together and because even though in the 8-game win streak, I even said it then, I felt like we haven't peaked yet. You know what I mean? We just got hot. You know what I mean? Right. So I feel like we're peaking now, but we're not necessarily hot. But you could see it. Like Brunson bouncing back, Randall bouncing back. Like after a poor performance, they've been mad consistent for over a month straight. You know what I mean? Like the both of them. So I think he's gonna help. I think he's gonna help a lot. Yeah. I'm not gonna put it all on like him because I already felt that way before the trade deadline.
Right.
But I like his addition to it. You know what I mean?
Right.
For sure.
Right. I just Nate. How many wins? Where do you think Josh Hart puts the Knicks? How big of an addition is it?
I mean, it's kind of hard to say. I would probably say Tony said 10. I think 10 would be ideal, but with the schedule the way it is, and just the honest thing is, watching this team this year, the margin of error is so small. We're not a team that blows out teams all the time. If anything, we get big leads and then we can blow the leads. So we're going to be in a lot of close games. And that's why I say the margin is going to be very small. So we're going to have to make smart plays, not turn over the ball, take good shots, stuff like that. So I would probably say 5, maybe. I mean, I'll go half of that. I don't really know the whole schedule going forward. I know it is tough. the reality is the Knicks are going to have to win the games they need to win, which like the Nets on Monday, they should beat the Nets. But they're going to have to win some of these games against some of these playoff teams because more likely they're going to face them in the playoffs.
Right. I mean, they've
wherever-
proven they can. I mean, when you look at the Knicks,
True.
When you look at the
Yeah.
Knicks, they've beaten some of the top teams in the Eastern Conference
Yeah.
already, right? They've beaten.
Well, they got to continue to do it. That's what I'm saying.
Of the top 6, they've beaten 4 of the top 6 teams. Brooklyn being one of those 6 teams, right? They beat Miami, they beat Boston, they beat Philadelphia, they beat Cleveland.
Yeah.
Right? They should have a chance to beat Brooklyn on Monday. Okay, now, there's a chance that they fall out of that top 6. You know what I mean? But they've beaten the only team they haven't beaten. Well, they haven't beaten Brooklyn, but they also haven't beaten Milwaukee. Right. You know what I mean? So they've proven that they can beat these teams. And then when you look on the West, in the Western Conference, let me look at the teams there. I'm not exactly sure. Let's see. Who have we beaten in the Western Conference?
Did we beat Denver or did we lose to Denver?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't
I know we lost to the Lakers.
We beat the Clippers.
We lost yeah, we did. I know we lost to the Grizzlies.
Suns?
We beat the
right?
Suns.
Yeah. But that's without KD.
That was without KD, of course.
The Warriors? I think that was out Steph, but
I think we beat the
them.
Warriors.
Yeah.
I believe we beat Minnesota. Have we even
Dallas?
played New Orleans yet?
I don't think so.
I don't think we've played New Orleans yet.
Dallas?
We beat Utah, obviously. We beat Portland. We beat San Antonio. Well, those teams don't matter.
Yeah.
Of the top teams, we did not beat the Grizzlies. Close games. We did not beat them.
Sacramento?
I think we beat Sacramento. We didn't beat Dallas. We beat Phoenix without KD. We'll see.
Yeah. And I mean going forward, because like I said, the race is going to get tight, and margin of error is very small, and games are only decided by if a team goes on a 5-game winning streak, they could jump up the standings very quickly in either conference. So you're gonna have to beat these good teams continued. But you know what? The one thing I will say about the Knicks that I think will keep us from making the playoffs or getting into the playoffs is you've got to defend the home courts. We're good on the road. We play well on the road. We have to win games at the Garden. That is your own house. You've got to defend it no matter who you're playing. We've got to get a better record at home.
Well, the Knicks are now 15-15 at home. They've won 4 of their last 5 games at home. Let's listen in to Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson. All right.
Already put them together.
Yeah, of course. Only smart thing to do.
Right?
Yeah, man, I just go out there, run around, and hope for the best. That's all. So, felt good to get out there. Felt good to get get that win. So, why are you playing already, bro? It's the first question. Yeah, man, it felt good out there.
Josh, what do you think of the crowd's reaction to you? Good ovation when you first came in, and then a couple of hustle plays and big shots at you.
Oh, I loved it. I mean, they're embracing me right now, and I love it. Like I said, I'm gonna come in every day. I'm a blue collar player. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do, whatever the team needs me to do to win that day, and I'm gonna go out there and execute. I'm gonna bring toughness, physicality, and just smart plays. So it felt great for them to show me love. The first time I came in, and after those shots, man, it felt great.
You played the last 16 and change. How were you prepared for that coming in? First time, JB doesn't know this, man. He hasn't got traded yet, but not yet. Hopefully never. He doesn't get traded. But yeah, the first game, you just got to go out there and just play basketball. I think that's the biggest thing, and I think the way this team plays, the way coach coaches, it's freedom in a controlled environment. I think that's the biggest thing, and it's good quality basketball, and you got unselfish guys. I think that's the biggest thing. So me being able to just jump in there,
everything just felt like it formed well. So just going out there and just playing felt good.
We saw the video, Jalen, finding out that you had been dealt to the team at Villanova, fittingly. We know that it brings happiness off the court for you guys to be reunited. But what would you say it's like on the court? Is there a comfort, even in those split-second decisions, that you know the guy on the receiving end in the past, that you know his habits, his both of you? Is it comfortable to be back on the court?
Look how cute we were. Right after that, our little FaceTime. Look how cute he is. Look how happy he is. He was so excited.
Oh man.
Cheeks are turning rosy.
Yeah, man. What was the question?
In split-second decisions,
Oh, yeah,
you got
yeah,
big
yeah.
defenders coming at you. You got 0.5 seconds to make a pass. What's it like knowing the guy on the other end of it because you may have spent a second or two playing with him before?
Yeah, it's like second nature. It goes back to when practicing against each other. For those 2 years we were together, and we were always constantly competing. And then when we got to the court, we just knew that we always wanted to win. And we both just try to make the right play at the right time. And like you said, we have a lot of unselfish guys, and we're willing to do whatever it takes to win. And so I think as long as we're keeping that our main priority, we're going to continue to get better.
Josh, you've always had not just a knack for rebounding, but when the shot is actually in the air, you start drifting to where you think it's gonna ricochet. There are other guys who do that, but it's kind of rare. What are you thinking there? Is that instinct? Is that thing you practiced?
Yeah, just instinct. Just look at the ball flight, and kind of trying to judge if it's going front rim, back rim, how short it is, if it's going to hit the rim and bounce back, or if it's going to hit the rim and hit the backboard, hit the back rim, and kind of come off. So it's just instincts, just looking, trying to judge it, and just going to and just go get it.
Is that something you always had?
I think it's something I always had. I think something that really helped me. I played baseball when I was a kid, and I played in the outfield. So, pop flies, you got to try to judge to see where it's going, see where the ball's going, and make reactions to that. So I think that definitely helped me growing up, and I just used that aspect, towards rebounding. I was amazing. I probably could have been MLB if I pursued it, man.
Jalen, based on what you know about Josh and what you know about your group leading into now, how do you think he can impact you guys?
In a lot of ways, I think he kind of set it right on point. Whatever the team needs, he's willing to fill that, and he's always been that player, and he's unselfish. Like I said, he's a dude that just wants to win, do whatever it takes to win, and I think that fits perfectly because we have a lot of guys on this team that have the same mindset, and we have a coach who has that mindset, and so we're putting all the pieces together, and we can continue to get better, and but I think this was a great first day for him. He's only going to continue to thrive.
Jalen, I want to get your perspective on this. Julius, in the last week, has had 4 floaters over shot blockers where it's scraped the ceiling of the arena, shooting really, really high. I don't think he's tried any of those. It's really hard to shoot all that high.
I've noticed that too in games. I was like, man, he's doing that.
Why is that working so well for him? Is that overly neat? Is that overcasting?
I mean, for one, he works on it. He definitely works on it. I know everyone remembers that the videos of him shooting floaters all summer and stuff. So the guy has a crazy work ethic, and so he is when his touch around the rim is going, and he can shoot as high as he wants, and so he's a workaholic, and so I'm not really surprised. One of them I was actually very surprised, but he works on it, so I'm not really. Wasn't too shocked because I've seen him do it before, but he's comfortable with it.
Which is the one you were very surprised?
Whichever one, I think he shot and it banked it. I think it was the one that ended the game against Philly. Here. Yeah, I kind of laughed that one off, but but he works on it, and he's amazing.
Hey, Josh, lots of offensive rebounds, 2 in 1 play, and steals today as well. And the crowd responded directly to those moments. Do you feel like there's something to that mantra that New York fans kind of like those great plays? Do you feel like you're the guy to fill that role?
Yeah, I think so. JB and I obviously played at Villanova, and plays like that, with getting those deflections, getting down the loose ball, offensive rebound, kicking out for a 3, we always view those as momentum plays, teams that break, plays that break teams, and that's something that we have ingrained in us, and making those big plays, making the steal or the offensive rebound, not kick out for a 3, make those little tough, gritty plays. It breathes life into your team. It takes life out of other teams, and those plays help win games. And I think that's the biggest thing. And I think this team, I think we have that, and I think we represent that, the city that way.
Jalen, I realize it's a team game, but another huge game for you, 38 points. Is not going to the All-Star game at least so far, is that any added motivation for you?
No, not at all.
So a couple explosions recently that's been coincidental?
It's a credit to my teammates. They, have great confidence in me, the coaching staff. It's a credit to my confidence as well, but I control what I can control, and that's all I really worry about.
Again, you've been very consistent though about your answers as far as the All-Star game goes. Any disappointment in naming 3 injured replacements on game 1?
No, those guys are all deserving. No, those guys are all very deserving, and I'm happy for them. And but like I said, I control what I can control.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Do you have KC winning by tomorrow?
All right.
No, I just wanted to say something. It's not about this game, not about the team or anything like that. I just want to say, Portland as an organization was great. Joe Cronin's been great. That organization is nothing but a class act, in the front office and in the training room. And I just want to say that, that organization is respectful, a class act, do everything by the book, and that's just all I got to say about them.
Thank you.
All right, that was Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. Couple of
Do you
nice
believe that he
words
doesn't
at
care?
the end. Couple of nice words at the end about Portland Trail Blazers and their organization.
And their training staff.
I
know he was getting that.
Yeah. Nice game by Josh Hart, man. Really nice game by Josh Hart tonight.
Yep.
In his Madison Square Garden, New York Knicks debut. Very good game. What were you going to say, Nate?
Do you believe that Jalen Brunson is not fazed by not making the All-Star?
I do. He's been kind of the underdog his entire career. So I think, I don't think it's making him go out and say, oh, I got to drop 38 to prove this or to prove that. You know what I'm saying? It's
I
just.
think he's playing a little bit of a chip.
He's
been playing with his whole life.
He played with it. Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. Motivated. It, you know what I mean? I think it motivates him, but it's not like I gotta prove it. It's just like, I'm gonna prove it.
But I think he is upset he got snubbed because it's very hard to get these positions. Especially the way voting is and all that.
Yeah, I think guys in the league, I think everybody kind of understands. It's about your level of play. You know what I mean? The All-Star game is going to be one thing. It's about your level of play. And if you're playing at that level, people are going to notice. As a player, do you want to, have that accolade? Of course you do. And I think he probably has seen the way his career has gone. And if he stays consistent, he continues to work, stays consistent, he'll get the accolades that he deserves. He spoke about that from the time that he came to the Knicks. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Let me just stay consistent and do what I do, and I'll get mine.
Sure.
It's more likely that it doesn't affect his game either way. But if I had to choose one, it'll be a motivation.
Absolutely. For sure.
Positively.
It's a drive. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But, man, this is, gotta like this team, man. This team ain't going to win a chip. as currently constructed, but they got a lot of pieces. See how far they can go, see how far they can grow, but they got a lot of pieces, man. And, you got to like it. Yeah, Tone.
I gotta try to be quick. My cat going crazy. So Knicks 100 at GM. He says Kentucky. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just put him up and you respond.
Yeah, all right. Go ahead and put it up there. See what he's talking about. He said Kentucky Knicks failed, Duke Knicks failed. Now it's Villanova Knicks.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean,
Another blue
we still
blood.
got Kentucky Knicks though, right? Right. We still got Kentucky Knicks.
Sim.
Do you build around Brunson? You build with Brunson, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pivotal piece, a pivotal cog. I don't think he's a guy that you build around. I think you build with him, though. He's definitely a guy that you need on your team. No doubt about it.
Heck yeah. Good point guards are hard to find.
Yeah. What was you gonna say, Nate?
I just want to go back to what Tibbs said, and we haven't talked about it, but I think it's definitely important because I think it's made Julius Randle more effective is him getting into the paint, whether it's a floater, whether it's bully ball, whether it's getting a dunk. Like I like that Julius Randle's shooting a high clip from threes, but I mean, if he can just, keep doing the mid range, get to the cup, get to the foul line, and then use the 3-pointer as another added weapon instead of making the 3-pointer the first option. I mean, this guy could he could be unstoppable in some ways.
See, the thing is, I mean, he's unstoppable right now, to tell you the truth. But the thing is,
yeah.
And one of the reasons why I think his game is going the way it is because he's shooting shots without thinking about it. Right? If you look at last year when he wasn't shooting the three well, he was hesitating. Should I shoot it? Should I not shoot it?
Right.
Earlier in the season, he had a couple of good games, and people asked him about, his shooting, and he said, I'm just shooting whatever's open. Whatever's given to me, that's what I'm taking. I'm not hesitating. And he's shooting better that way. So whatever he's doing, I want him to keep doing it. I don't want him to change it. You know what I'm saying? If that means some games he shoots 10, 12 threes, then that's what happens. You know what I'm saying? But I think he's doing a good job of not thinking about the shot and just shooting it, and it's making him play and shoot better, in my opinion.
Or make the decision, like if they close out on the three, he drives to the basket or he takes the mid range.
That's what he's doing.
As I'm saying, he's making the right decision, and so I applaud him for that. I just love when bigs take it to the paint because in today's NBA, that's a lost art. Nobody drives to the basket as a big now. If they can shoot the three, they stay out on the 3-point line. Unless you're Nikola Jokic. Or guys like, Giannis or Embiid.
All right. Jose Trinidad said, Tibbs is a 90s style coach. Hard to attract superstar players here with Tibbs as a coach. Tony,
that is true.
Tony, do you agree with that?
I disagree because, one, I think players attract players more than anything else. And they're going to be... So unless the current players here are gonna talk other players out of coming here, which I don't see happening, then no, I disagree. I think players want to play with players, and players want to play with other players that they know, that they're comfortable with, that they have relationships with. You know what I mean? Like that's also part of it. It's a lot of it is not really, I like his game, I'm admiring from afar. A lot of people have these relationships. The big talk for years was Booker, Cat, and D'Lo trying to team up wherever it may be.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think the banana boat. You know what I mean? You got like players dictate it, but I don't think it's based off of just admiring everyone's game per se. It's really looking at it and strategizing and saying we could play together, we could fit together. So I think it's more on the players and who they attract.
Right. And people keep on saying Go ahead, Nate, because you're about to go the opposite direction as me. Go ahead.
All I'm going to say is I do agree with Tony. I think players do play a big part in the relationship and the recruiting of a superstar. But I will say this, it also depends on who the superstar is and what kind of game he has. Like some superstars want the hard coaching, some superstars don't want hard coaching, and so it just depends, and Tibbs is a no-nonsense guy. And the reality is that if you look at the NBA right now, it's more player-driven coaches than it is hard-nosed coaches. Those are kind of a dying breed, so it just depends on the superstar, in my opinion,
One last thing, Sim. I think New York affects that. New York on your chest has more of effect,
sure,
than the coaching, and it might even have more effect than who's on the team, the players, the current players who you could bring with you, etc., etc. I think some people just ain't built for that New York on their chest as well.
Right.
So you give me 5 players that's built for New York, and I don't care if they the 5 best players in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and you know what's crazy is every time we hear someone talk about Tibbs and the style of play, most of the time people will talk about the offensive style of play. What do we keep hearing? What do we hear Josh Hart just say? There's freedom, but it's under control. Controlled freedom. Right? You're free to play how you play, but within some confines of what we do as a team. I don't see where stars are gonna have a problem with that. Especially, I mean, people say that Tibbs is isolation. What star is gonna have a problem with that? If that's what you think, that's right. I don't think that. And then if you're saying that stars are gonna have a problem because he wants to hustle, then I have a problem with that star.
I agree.
Then, right? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't think it's that.
I think, and I may be going out on a limb here because I'm not trying to defend them, because I'm not a fire Tibbs guy or anything of the sort. But I think, or let me pose it as a question: could his system be predicated or best suited having a star, and the fact that we still trying to say, oh, we just need that guy, and we don't have that, and it's putting other people out of their pecking order.
Right. It could be.
Could that be what makes him look bad?
It could be.
You know what I mean?
It could be.
As opposed to when he had the star, Derrick Rose, prime Derrick Rose, pre-injury Derrick Rose. I mean, some of the same beefs was the same beefs, but can you argue with the man's track record?
That's the thing. You really can't. People are gonna say, well, he hasn't won a championship and all of that. I dig it. It's a lot of coaches that haven't, that are good coaches too. Matter of fact, every single coach that people mention as taking over for Tibbs has not won a championship. All right. You know what I mean? People talk about they talk about everybody. Kenny Atkinson, our assistant coach, our associate head coach, they talk about everybody. None of those guys won championships either. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I think
I think that stars will play for Thibodeau. I think stars will play for Thibodeau. He has, and this is just from what we've seen and heard from players that have coached, that have played for him. Obviously, every coach, if you've coached for a while, you're gonna have some players that don't like you. Greg Popovich has players that don't like him. You're hearing about it right now, right? So you're gonna have players that don't like you. That's gonna happen. Most of Tibbs's players really like him as a coach, and talk about how he's perceived to have this tough exterior, but really he's a likable dude. Just has some standards that you got to go by. You know what I'm saying? But everybody likes him and actually does help to build confidence. People are gonna point to Cam, right? But I mean, clearly you see there was something that he didn't think Cam brought. You get a guy that he likes, that he thinks brings what he wants, he plays him. You know what I mean? Hopefully Cam You know what I mean? Hopefully Cam has a great career in Portland or wherever else he goes, but every coach is going to have their style of play and their style of players.
I think he doesn't compromise.
Right.
And I say that in the sense of, what did
Good
Hart
way.
say? It's a controlled freedom.
Mm-hmm.
He's the
So
boss.
so the
He's the leader.
freedom comes within this box. So
Right.
as long as you stay in this box, you
Right.
can do whatever you want. Read and react. Make the right decision. What does Tibbs always say? The game will tell you what to do. You know what I
Right.
mean? But if you stay in this box, now you could, you know what I mean? Now you could react. You could let the game tell you what to do, and we should win games that way.
Right.
But if you're trying to do anything outside this box, I'm not compromising that. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and so my question is, should a coach compromise
So I
with
think
players?
right. So
I
let me.
can understand with a
yeah.
coach, you know what I mean, assistant or whatever the case, but with players.
Yeah, I'm gonna get to that in just a second. Blue Hefner said, "Go ask Karl Anthony Towns if he likes Thibodeau. Go ask DeJounte Murray if he likes Popovich. Right? Go ask him. Go ask Steven Jackson if he likes Popovich.
Can I say one thing about that?
Right? And Karl Anthony Towns right now will probably tell you yes because they've gotten over it. Those guys might say yes, but you just heard DeJounte Murray talk about Pop. You know what I mean? Every player is gonna, every coach is gonna have some players that didn't like their style or it just didn't work, and so they have an issue. That's gonna happen. You're not gonna coach hundreds, maybe thousands of players, or maybe 1,000 players, not thousands. But you're not gonna coach hundreds of players, and every single one of them like you. That's just that. You know what I mean? That's just that. Go ahead, Nate. Then I want to talk about what Tony was saying.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna say, kind of to follow up what I was saying earlier about the coaching. Hard coaching is winning formula because if you look at the hard coaches, Popovich, one of the most winningest coaches in the NBA, Steve Kerr, winning coach, Eric Spoelstra, winning coach. Like it works. So even though I do feel like this has become a player-driven and a player-driven coach league now, the hard coaching still works at the end of the day because that wins you the chips, that wins you a lot of games. And so Tibbs is one of those coaches. And it would be interesting because, yeah, he hasn't had a star, like a high caliber player probably since Derrick Rose. I don't consider Karl Anthony Towns a star or a superstar. He's a really good player, but I'm not saying he's a superstar. Derrick Rose is a superstar before pre-injury.
But would they do in with him, or would he do with them? Whichever way you want to look at it.
Who, Derrick Rose?
The Timberwolves.
Oh, I mean, they were really good offensively, but they got bounced. Then they got bounced by the Rockets in the first round, didn't they?
Oh, how many times they got to the playoffs before Tibbs got there?
I mean, been a long time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I get it.
Now, Tony, you were saying should a coach compromise? I think you got to have certain standards, and you never compromise those standards.
Agree.
Right? Like you have certain standards. These are our standards, and those standards may not always have to do with certain plays or the X's and O's. I think those standards have to be hustle, right? Being professional. Like those are your standards. You know what I'm saying? How you play is always going to change a little bit based on your personnel. So now, should a coach listen to what their players are saying? Absolutely. Right? As long as you meet these certain standards, I think a coach should, hey, coach, I'm not comfortable with the ball in this spot. I'm not comfortable with the ball in that spot. I'm more comfortable here. I'm more comfortable there. I think you have to listen to your players. I'm not comfortable guarding this guy. You have to. If you don't listen to your players in that aspect, you're doing yourself a disservice because they're the ones that's on the floor. They're the ones that have the defense on them. Like, they're the ones that's out there. So you got to listen. The other night, playing against one of our rivals, and they throw a box and one on our best player. She's not our top scorer, but she's our best player. They throw a box and one on her because she makes it go. And in the third quarter, they outscore us 18-0. They put a box and one on her in the first half. Throughout the entire game, we were up 13 at halftime, right, with the box and one. Third quarter, for whatever reason, we had a lid on the basket. They outscored us 18-0. She said, "Coach, take me out. I think we're playing better 5-on-5 because what we were doing is we were letting them go 4-on-4, and in the first half it was working. In the second half, we weren't hitting the shots. We were still able to get our shots. We wasn't making them. So she said, take me out. Maybe we need to go." So I took her out the game. Immediately go on a 6-0 run. Take the lead. Never look back. We win the basketball game. She gets back in the last 3 minutes of the game, to help us bring it home. But she had the feel out there. I could see it. I'm there. I'm in the game. But sometimes you got to hear what your players are saying. So me and her, we talk all the time about what's going on in the game. And she'll give me some suggestions. Sometimes I'm like, no, let's not do this. Let's continue doing what we're doing or whatever it is. But you got to hear your players because they're out there on the floor. If you don't listen to them, you're not a good coach, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
That being said, the players also have to know how to voice how they're feeling or what they're seeing or whatever it is
and that comes with building that relationship. You know what I'm saying? So that when the player comes to you, like they're not already angry over some other stuff a long time ago, like you have a good enough relationship. And even if they do come to you and it's in the heat of the moment, it might sound a little rough. Like you as the coach, okay, we're in the heat of the moment, emotions are high, blah, 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 blah. I haven't really had that kind of issue with my players. You know what I'm saying? Because we we're always talking about keeping the communication open, but I always got open ears. We have a set of standards though. If you don't work hard, you sit down. If you're not hustling, you sitting down. You know what I'm saying? You can make mistakes. You can turn the ball over. You know what I mean? And I'm going to ride with you. I might pull you out to help you get under control. We'll talk about it. But if you're not hustling, you're not working hard, you got your head down, your shoulders down, and you look like you don't want to be out there, then I'm not going to put you out there. And they know it. You know what I'm saying? But everything else we can work with. And as long as you have a set of standards that you don't let them go outside of, I think you got to be able to listen to them and talk to them and understand what they need out there on the floor. That's what the coach is there for. You know what I mean? That's what the coach is there for.
What's that?
Blue Hefner said, Sam and Tony love Thibodeau. They're biased in their eyes. Thibodeau does nothing wrong. I think I don't agree with you at all, Blue Hefner. I don't agree with you at all because we both have come out and said we didn't agree with certain things that Thibodeau did.
It's one thing about not agreeing or not complaining and making it the daily the daily issue or whatever the case. You know what I mean? So there's plenty of things I don't agree with that he's done, that he does, even in his philosophy. But in all reality, I look at his track record, whether you want to disregard what he's done here, you look elsewhere and look at the track record. He is who his record, says he is.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he's done it with numerous teams.
Right.
Now, granted, once we get to our peak level, there might be a ceiling with Tips.
There might be.
You know what I mean? But let him get us as far as he could get us.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Because
and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, I mean, because if you look at it, people can say whatever they want and be mad at him. But if the Knicks continue, and they've got to continue this year and finish with a winning record, and if they do so, 2 of the 3 years that Thibodeau's been the coach, they would have had winning records. Hard to argue with. 2 of the 3 years, Julius Randle would have been an all-star. Hard to argue with. You know what I'm saying? You can look back. Jimmy Butler became an all-star under Tom Thibodeau. Now, Julius Randle, we know, is becoming an all-star under Tom Thibodeau. Andrew Wiggins really became a good player under Tom Thibodeau. I believe it was Andrew Wiggins, right? Before he got shipped off to Golden State.
Yeah.
You can't argue with that. He's helped players to become better.
Cat.
And you know, he's helped them too. Is there a cap on what he can do? Maybe. Maybe he gets him to a certain point, and then you need somebody else to come in and get him over the hump. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. But I'm not going to sit here and say he's a bad coach. That's what people want. And you know, that's the overwhelming thing from a lot of people. He's a bad coach. Look at all the mistakes that he makes.
And to be honest, like my question to those people are, what is the ceiling of the team? Like, if you take Tibbs out of the equation, you know what I mean? Like, because let's look at what we've been through with the coaches we've had in the past, right? And none of them overachieved. You know what I mean? And even if we thought they was all bums, they all underachieved our expectation of what we thought they was. You know what I mean? Fizdale, like, he was all right. Let's let him grow as a coach, and the team could grow with him as a team. And no,
Didn't work. Didn't work. He wanted to be their friend. He didn't want to be their coach. He wanted to be their friend. You know what I'm saying? Blue Hefner again said the first year they played 40 games. They played 40 games in a COVID year. So did everybody else. Everybody else in the league was under the same conditions. So it's not like the Knicks were the only team that didn't have fans in their building. Everybody played under the same conditions. And they played 70 games, right? Or 72 games.
Say, we won 41 games.
We won 41 games, and they played 72 games. I mean, you know, everybody played under the same conditions, so that equals it out for everybody, doesn't it? And then the next year, they were 37-45. You can't say that they didn't have injuries, and I'm not blaming it on injuries, but they had some people who were out that entire season. That would have been significant players for the team. 37-45, right? Played without a point guard.
And missed the playing by what? A game or two?
Yeah, something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you can say we're not doing this, but I am doing this because it's the truth.
And there's also two aspects that I think people forget when they talk about trying to fire a coach. Like, one of the aspects is that Leon Rose and Tibbs are tied at the hip because Leon Rose brought in Tibbs. So Leon Rose is going to give Tibbs as much opportunity to be successful as possible, because if he fires Tibbs, then that's already a bad mark against him. And then the next question you have is, who you bringing in that's going to supplant a guy who's has a lot of coaching experience, has had success with this team? Like, obviously, if you do bring in somebody else, this person is going to be seen as taking you to the next level that Tibbs couldn't do. Because if you're just getting a coach that's similar to Tibbs, you might as well just kept Tibbs. Because Tibbs has a track record. He has the experience. Players like him. They already know what his style is like. You don't bring in a brand new person if he's not going to supplant Tibbs. Like, you know, like I'll give you the example of Steve Kerr. In the Warriors' mind, they saw Steve Kerr as better than Mark Jackson. And that's why they brought him in. And he's been successful. So that's my question to the people that want to get rid of Tibbs is, who's your answer? Who is going to supplant you that's going to take you to that next level that Tibbs hasn't already gotten us to in some aspects?
I mean, I think it's even more fair to ask. Number one, I respect the argument if you're telling me this is a championship team, but Tibbs is holding us back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Because then I respect your argument. I don't agree with you, but you know what I mean? Right. I respect why you want him gone. But if the team is not a championship level team, and then my argument to you is, has the team underachieved or overachieved with Tibbs?
Right.
That's the way I look at it. like I'm not saying he's gonna bring us to bring the championship to us, because I don't think the team is ready at that level yet.
Yeah.
But we're excelling.
Yeah. It's people are gonna complain. I get it. Any coach we bring in, people are gonna have a problem and issues with that coach. Tibbs is not perfect, but guess what? And hopefully this doesn't come to a surprise to you. But not one coach in the NBA is the perfect coach. They all make mistakes. Some win more games than others. Some are better coaches than others, obviously. But they all make mistakes. Tibbs is not a perfect coach. Makes a lot of mistakes. I don't think that means you fire him. You know what I mean? You got to get to a point. Let the team plateau. Let's see where they get to. Get him the players that he's asking for. See if you can get a star in here. See where he can take the team. Once you see, all right, you know what? I don't think he can take this team any farther. Well, then maybe that's when you replace him. People all talk about Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr, right? With Mark Jackson, I think it was more than just the play of the team as to the reason why he was replaced. Had to do with other things. You know what I'm saying? But he built that team, right? He built that team. He put the principles in place. Steve Kerr, maybe, I'm sure he expanded on the offense and helped to get the most out of, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and those guys. But you can't discredit Mark Jackson and what he did for that team and the culture and the way that he helped to build the team. You know what I'm saying? You can't discredit that. Maybe Tibbs is the same way, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, I just get tired of it all the time. I can understand.
Either way, he's not going anywhere.
I can understand people griping about, things that he did. That's what you're supposed to do. You're going to, but every day, fire him every day. It's crazy. Nobody wants to be happy. Nobody wants to be happy. You know what I mean? We're winning. We got more wins under Tibbs than we've had in how long?
Whew, man.
I mean, come on.
Wait. We probably have more wins under Tibbs than we have in like 2, maybe 3 coaches.
Yeah.
Okay. Who was the last winningest coach for the Knicks?
And the crazy thing is this. When Tibbs took over, everybody was talking about how bad team we had. Players and how bad.
Including Tibbs. How about that?
Yeah, everyone, these guys can't do this, they can't do that. We're just gonna be, we're gonna be in the lottery, da 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 da. 41
He said
wins.
he was ready to move on from Randall.
Right.
And Randall came in such incredible shape that he was like, all right, well, let me see. The rest is history.
I mean, I understand in some aspects. I understand the fans aspect of it because I'm not from New York, but I can understand that. You have you have historical franchises in your city, so the rebuild is hard to sell because like they were talking about LA about how Pelinka went and got all these pieces because they don't want to rebuild. They have to just reload or try to get some pieces to make the team better to be competitive because you've already have competitive markets in that area. So I understand the New York perspective that, we want to win chips. We want to be competitive. We want to be up there with the Bostons and the Milwaukees. The problem is that we're not going to be there until we get a star. It has nothing to do with a coach. We need to get a star player on this team and then construct the team around that and then see what happens.
Yeah, Francisco Carrillo said Mark did what Tibbs is doing now. Exactly. That's exactly
and
what's
it's
happening.
not time for Curry yet.
Right.
And we haven't found Steph yet.
Right.
Yeah.
At the very
least. Clay.
Clay. Listen. I said at the very least. I'm not saying we got Clay or Draymond or any. All I'm saying is Steph's that guy.
Right.
Yeah.
We ain't found him yet. You know what I'm saying?
No.
We
that
ain't found
close.
him yet. So we'll see. We'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get up out of here. Appreciate your time. I'm going to go try to get some rest because tomorrow I got a long day of scouting, trying to get things ready for Monday's practice, so we can prepare for our playoff game on next Wednesday. You know what I mean? So, go try to get me some rest. Happy the Knicks won. I'm feeling good about where the Knicks are. Josh Hart came in and did his thing. I feel good, man. I like where the Knicks are at. Hopefully they can get that win on Monday versus the Nets. You know what I mean? It's gonna be hopefully the Knicks don't go in overconfident, feeling like, we're going to get them now, boom, 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 because they still have talent over there. They still got some talent. This team is going to be reminiscent of the way it was when, a few years ago before they got Kyrie and KD. You know what I mean? Just, a young team that, is really competitive, plays together, shares the basketball, no stars. It's going to be like that type of a team. So, I don't want to put anything past this team. You got to approach them seriously, because they're ready to hoop. Hopefully Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Mikal Bridges can go out to dinner and convince Mikal Bridges to request a trade.
That ain't going to happen soon. That ain't going to happen.
So they could team
Maybe
up.
when his contract goes up, but that ain't going to happen.
Contract don't go up for a while.
Oh, then he's going to be there for a while. He ain't going anywhere. They like him.
We already know what the tampering charges cost. So
right. But players can do it. Players can do it. Players can do it.
That's true. That's true.
They can try, but it ain't gonna happen.
Players.
I'm talking about
players.
They need it's probably at least 25 games where they both in the city. They both at home. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah,
you need 25 dinners.
I'm sure they'll be having a lot of dinners.
Right. So
it might take 2 years. It might take a year or two, but
but
let
me get out of here. Somebody asked, who was it? Somebody just asked who we got winning the game. Look, I'm supporting the Chiefs all the way.
Chiefs.
Ain't no way I'm rooting for the Eagles.
You're a Giants fan.
I'm a Giants fan. I'm not rooting for the Eagles.
That's all you need to say.
No way I'm rooting for the Eagles. You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be a good
game. It can't happen. Sorry, Jalen Brunson. I know he's an Eagles fan. But
hey, Sam, why did they light the Empire State Building green? That was really perplexing, man.
I don't know.
That was something, man.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't got the answers to that. I don't got the answers to that.
So they got fired probably for it.
I mean, maybe they trying to squeeze them like they part of our DMV. You know what I mean?
Yeah, part of the region, right? That's what they.
They're not the
it's 3 hours away or something. They trying to
try to squeeze them in.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Nah, I don't support them. Anyway, I'm out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate your time. If you want to join us in DC, you heard Spree say he was going to be there with us on the 24th. Make sure you get your tickets, ladies and gentlemen. The link is in the description of the video. February 24th, $135 a ticket. Section 114. So we right there. It's going to be a dope time. We're going to have Steph doing a watch along at Guy Fieri's DC Bar and Kitchen. We'll be there before and after the game. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Make sure you join us, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate your time, and I'm out. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Postgame reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Nick.